So then taste manifest. Such a powerful taste. Such a powerful taste that there's a greed. The body trembles, everything trembles because there's greed. We want more. And when the materialistic people they do sex life, there's this kind of greed, but it is the opposite. Because this greed for the sexual pleasure, it identifies the soul with the material body and brings suffering. So, but greed in contact with the Supreme Lord is infinitely more powerful in beauty, in taste, in everything. There's a in material greed, it's so different. It is explained that when a devotee, when a sexual thought comes in him, he says, "Oh," he spits at the thought. It's to show you how much the chanting of the holy name it inverses the mentality of the living entity. It changes. In this world, they all run after sexual orgasm. For them, it's the highest bliss. Can you believe it? But the devotee, his bliss, his love is so different than sexuality that when a thought on sexuality comes in him, he says, "Oh," he is disgusted. This is why we can understand through the own feelings of a devotee that sex life is the opposite of love of God. And still, living entities call that love. We call that kama, lust, the desire to enjoy. And finally, when we experience sex life, what happens once we enjoy and we attain the summum of it, the end of it, the orgasm comes, it's the identification 100% with the body. It's like a venom which is impregnated in the living entity. That's why the goal is to free ourselves from sex life. Every time you do sex life, you receive poison, venom. You identify yourself completely towards the body, and you're so far from your spiritual reality. It is like you will suicide yourself spiritually. In reality, when we chant without offense, the chanting awakens the nature of the soul. The chanting allows for the soul to taste. It will be like just you find another personality who can taste something extraordinary. It's an inconceivable reality. That means from there's something in you that can taste something extraordinary. Before it was not possible. The more you could taste is sex life. It was the maximum. The sexual orgasm. But once this greed, spiritual greed comes, there's another identity that takes place. And it can taste billions of times more nectar. And it is something inconceivable. And then Haridas Thakur, he explains that when this taste comes, we must meditate on the form of the Supreme Lord. Because even at this level, the form of the Lord doesn't manifest itself necessarily in Ruchi. And Haridas Thakur says, then we must meditate on the deity. It's interesting, no? And when with taste we meditate on the deity, what happens? It is that Krishna reveals himself through the deity and he reveals all his attributes, his qualities. And automatically, what will happen? The taste is so powerful that we fusion, the name fusion with the form, reveals the form of the Lord. And naturally, it is there that the true rasa starts. That means that the sweet feelings of love start to come with the Supreme Lord. Before it was the taste, but now feelings of love, because we'll start to awaken to love with Krishna. We will start to develop feelings of love with Krishna. And what is really interesting is that the stage before, they are the pastimes of the Lord Ashakti. From Ashakti, then, by the meditation on the sound and the form combined and the pastimes, comes meditation on the pastimes of the Supreme Lord. And it's really interesting because the mood of the deities, it's really important. Because Haridas Thakur says that we must meditate on the deities. But the deities, they revealed Goloka Vrindavan. So, the deity, in the first time, we worship the deity with gestures because we do not have the pure mind, the heart, pure heart. But the Acharyas explain something that is very interesting. It's that we should never worship the deity without meditation. It means that through the meditation on the deity, you enter into the kingdom of the Supreme Lord. A pujari who is neophyte cannot understand this. That is why even meditation is boring. We just do gestures with the body. But as soon as someone becomes a Madhyamadikari, two aspects are there. The external worship and the entrance into Braj. That means the feeling, really, and the internal worship with feelings, with very elevated feelings. Then the deity will reveal our feelings inside of us, our eternal feelings inside of us. It's very advanced. But the neophyte cannot understand this. He only makes gestures because he doesn't have the possibility to project himself in reality. That is why the Acharyas explain that we cannot separate meditation. If there's no meditation, it's not good also. In the same way, chanting is not just listening. It should be listening plus meditation. This is the summum. It is the meditation on the pastime of the Lord. At the beginning, there's listening. Meditation on the form. When the sound and the form are one, rasa appears. And the sound, the form, and the pastime appears. And the fourth stage is when the holy name reveals to the devotee his form, his name, his dress, his group, etc. And after he can meditate through the sound, the form and the pastimes in his own service. And if he is absorbed completely, then he becomes a pure devotee. This is the goal of Vaishnavas. There's no other goal. Before, it's materialistic devotees. You understand? There's just identification with a caste or with a movement. I am this, I am that. I won't do anything else. I won't go to other temples. This is not bhakti. Our goal is much more elevated. We just need not to make offenses. It starts there. Haridas Thakur explains. We should not make offenses towards Vaishnavas. The 10 offenses to the holy name connected to devotional service. If we avoid these offenses, ruchi comes quickly. As soon as the offenses are not done, the taste comes. Why a devotee doesn't taste? Because he offenses. He makes offenses. As soon as there's no offenses and you're careful, taste will come again. You cannot stop chanting. It's finished. There's such a high taste that it takes you. You cannot stop. Something is emanating from you didn't know, and it is so wonderful. But if there are offenses, the holy name will not reveal itself. You can just move the tongue and saliva, but there's no taste. It's just because of offenses. And the Vaishnavas explain that if you stay on this level, you cannot enter into Vrindavan. This is why be careful in your relationships with the deity, with the Vaishnavas. It costs a lot. Control yourself. Learn to become new persons. Don't be possessed by your behavior. Have an introspection in your spiritual life. Otherwise, there will be no spiritual advancement. If you don't make spiritual advancement, we come back. What would you do in your next life? Criticize? Become angry? It doesn't exist. Oh, in Vrindavan. Vrindavan, it's just love and peace. So it is important at some point to think, maybe I have to stop. I have to change. I don't have much time to live. Hey, Baba? There's not much time. So maybe you have to change. That will come quick. If you're not qualified, you will come back. And the problem when we come back, we don't know where we are. What will happen to us again? How many years did we need to simply start chanting? So we have to be careful. We must have the good etiquette, good respect, proper respect. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu taught us this proper respect. The Acharyas, they taught us proper respect. Acharya is the perfect being. It's rare. It's really rare. They taught proper respect. Why? Because Acharya means the one who teaches by example. If he doesn't teach proper respect, the disciples, they cannot chant without offenses. If the chanting is not freed of offenses, there's no taste. If there's no taste, there's no meditation on the form. If there's no taste, there's no meditation on the pastimes. If there's no taste, there's no revelation of Sambandha again of who we are in the spiritual world. We cannot be engaged. Do you understand? It's a whole chain. If there's no taste, what will we look for? Position. We will look for respect. Instead of giving respect to others, we will look for respect. Then we'll suffer. We'll always be in conflict. We won't be in peace. This is why we should really have introspection in our life. Often I come on that. The devotees, they live like in a routine. There's no taste, but it doesn't matter. We try to find taste in prasadam, in other things, but not in the holy name. But our goal is more elevated. It is much more elevated. So, it is important to ask ourselves questions and not follow the mass of people. In general, it's true. Devotees don't have much taste in chanting because many devotees, they make offenses. But it's not because the mass of devotees make offenses that we should maintain ourselves in the lowest level. We must be identified with the soul, not with the body. Not to an institution, not to a parent. In this world, all the living entities, they act aversion, attachment, desire, repulsion, friends, enemies. If you connect yourself to this material world, you will find you'll be part of something. If you're part of something in this world, if you find your camp, then it means Namaparad. You'll make mistakes. As soon as we consider ourselves a servant of the Supreme Lord, a servant of the spiritual master, automatically we look for mercy. We're looking to transcend this world. And automatically we receive an intelligence. We receive the intelligence of the Supreme Lord, and we start to understand how to free ourselves from offenses. We become conscious to act properly and not lose our opportunity to progress. We receive the intelligence before we are on our own, just like a rhinoceros, running in everything, trying to solve things with our own intelligence. But this intelligence is more governed by passion and ignorance. So when we become really the servant of the Guru and the Vaishnavas, we receive the intelligence of Krishna. And then we can understand how to act in a perfect way. It is then that the holy name will start to reveal itself. Because when we act properly, this is important. The Vaishnavas, they are happy with us. And this is rare. We cannot have a perfect behavior. But we speak about effort. We speak about receiving the intelligence and make the effort, which allows to be well situated. And as soon as we do the effort, the Vaishnavas are happy with us and they bless us. They say, oh, there's one that makes the effort to be well situated and to be a good servant. He must receive blessings. And when Vaishnavas are happy, automatically Krishna is happy. And now Krishna reveals himself through the holy name. And when we chant, then there is taste. And what happens? When taste comes, listening comes, purification of the heart happens. And the more the heart is purified, the more naturally the mercy of the Lord becomes attractive. And more it becomes attractive, more we receive the intelligence. And intelligence, what happens? We can see the form. It's not something, for example, we can read in Haranam Chintamani, we have to do like this, like that. But if there's no purity, the steps won't come on their own. Because it's Krishna who allows for the devotee to do this. For example, if you chant with the fences, I will think, oh no, that doesn't mean you won't fall asleep at some point in your chanting. There won't be extraordinary taste. You won't make a beautiful smile in your meditation, but you won't feel the fragrance of the Supreme Lord or extraordinary things appearing from the Lord, His qualities. But when the attitude is good, mercy of the Vaishnavas is there, automatically intelligence comes, so that our mind can say, oh, I must meditate. And immediately, as soon as we meditate, then Krishna appears. It's really powerful. It's really powerful. As soon as Krishna appears, then Leela appears. And then this is fascinating. It is so wonderful to chant. It becomes so much wonderful to chant. We think, oh, I just wanted to do that. At the beginning, it becomes cut. It stops. There's high and lows. There's always taste, but gradually, purity makes that it becomes more and more constant, more and more real. That means the pastimes become more and more one with the chanting. That means that all our mentality, all our false mentality, becomes completely destroyed, and we can have access to the transcendental world. It becomes the experience of Braj. It's at this level now.
Naturellement,
And naturally,
on devient attaché.
we become
Il y a
attached.
une expérience de
There's an experience of attachment that is powerful. Identification with the spiritual being that is powerful.
Et s'il y a l'attachement, qu'est-ce qui
If
se
there's
passe?
attachment, what happens?
On en demande.
Then we ask for it.
On devient
We want more.
comme accro.
We become
Par
addicted.
exemple, quelqu'un qui prend de la drogue. L'inverse, on peut prendre l'exemple des gens qui prennent de la drogue. Moi, j'ai
You know, someone who takes drugs, it's the opposite, you know.
junkie, quoi.
You know, I was a junkie
Ils pensent
before.
qu'à ça.
Junkies, they think only about that.
Drogue, c'est-
As soon as they take
il y en
drugs,
a plus, ils deviennent-
as soon as there's no more drugs, they become crazy. They only think about drug.
Ils arnaquent n'importe qui.
They don't eat. They cheat everybody just to have their drug. It's particular. The life of a junkie.
C'est une fixation sur
It's
la
a
drogue.
fixation on drug. We can't imagine.
Ça vous bouffe tout.
It eats everything up.
Inversement, dès que
As soon
le saint se
as the holy name reveals itself, then
pense qu'à ça,
we think only about
c'est
it.
ce qu'on appelle l'étape d'achat.
That's what we call the stage of Ashakti.
Sans cette étape-là,
Without this stage,
on ne peut pas avoir le désir
we cannot have the powerful desire
et être introduit après.
and be introduced
C'est
after.
pour ça que tout est graduel.
That's why everything is gradual.
Mais
But
le point,
the point is,
c'est que dans un premier temps,
in first time, we must be careful not to make offenses. Because if we make offenses, then the taste will stop. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada explains that even at a high level of devotion, if you make an offense, he explains it is just like a piece, a card castle. If you just touch it, everything crumbles. He says even at the high level of devotion, if we offend a great Vaishnava, we speak about a great Vaishnava, we speak about something that is on this level of serving in the spiritual body. It's not anyone who is at this level. It's rare. It's really, really rare. A Mahabhagavat. It's someone who can serve in his transcendental body. Wow. He can go to Braj and do his service. When you offend a person like this, it's finished. And this is rare. Most people are Madhyamadikaris. The Madhyam, it means that the name and the form become one. It's the first phase of Madhyamadikari. There's one phase before, where the listening becomes completely clear and the taste manifests itself. So, spiritual life rests upon this. It is our philosophy. If we did not understand this, so we did not understand the foundation of the teachings of Bhaktivinoda Thakur. Because the true teacher on the holy name is Srila Haridas Thakur, Namachara Haridas Thakur. The Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu gave different devotees of the Lord something and empowered them to explain some certain aspects of his philosophy. And Haridas Thakur was empowered to explain what is the practice of the relationship, the goal, and the chanting of the holy name. That's why everyone can have a theory, but we are based on the Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur. And Bhaktivinoda Thakur is the founder of the modern movement of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He is the founder. We all find our origin in Bhaktivinoda Thakur, all of us, the philosophy, the practice, everything. This is why we should study the Harinam Chintamani. which is really
Comprendre
important
déjà quelles
to
sont les
understand
offenses,
already what are these offenses,
quel est ce développement,
what is this
dans l'amour de Dieu.
development in love
Comment
of
ça
God,
se passe,
how
comment on
does
doit
it
chanter,
happen, how do we
de quelle
chant it,
manière. C'est
in
très
which way.
important la
It is really
méditation.
important to read
C'est
Harinam
le livre le
Chintamani.
plus important.
It is one of the most
Parce
important
que
books,
sans étudier le
because
Harinam
without studying the
Chintamani,
Harinam
c'est tout
Chintamani, and it's small,
en gros,
it's not a big
parce que,
book.
bon, il y a des versions, il y a des commentaires,
There are versions with comments,
mais le livre en lui-même, il est tout petit.
but the living
Ouais, il est
itself
pas
is,
facile à
is,
comprendre
is
s'il y a
small.
des commentaires quand même.
It's not easy to understand without the commentaries.
Radenen,
Well,
il y
but
a un site,
there's a
on voit
website,
sur Bhaktivinoda,
Radhanen, where
alors je sais pas de qui les commentaires, parce
I
que
don't
c'est
know
pas-
from whom are the commentaries, but there's a commentary on Harinam Chintamani that is very good, which is simple.
C'est quelqu'un d'ISKCON qui l'a fait.
It's someone from ISKCON who did it. I think it's Jayapataka Swami, or it's very
Et
beautiful.
donc, je vous
And so
conseille
I
de
advise
lire Harinam Chintamani.
for you to read Harinam
Parce que dès
Chintamani,
qu'on lit
because as
Harinam
soon as we
Chintamani,
read Harinam
on change.
Chintamani, the taste for
On change
chanting
notre
comes.
conception, le
We
rapport
change
avec
our
le Saint. C'est
conception,
très
our
important.
connection with the
Il faut
holy name.
lire sur le
It's very
Saint.
important. We must read on the
Si
holy
on
name
veut
if we
comprendre
want to understand
notre relation avec
our
le Saint,
relationship with the holy name. If we want to understand why we chant, we must read.
c'est très important.
It's really important.
Voilà, c'est ce que je voulais dire.
That's one that I wanted to talk about today. Thank you very much.